Let's rank every troop from worst to best in 2026 to show you which ones you need to use and which ones to avoid. Starting with the F tier, these are troops that are flat out bad and aren't worth taking in your army or CC no matter your town hall level. Starting with the Giant. They are fairly decent tanks when you start out, but with more and more tanky troops added to the game, in addition to more and more splash damage, there is less room for them in armies. As for the Goblins, they are also decent at the beginning of the game, but fall off a cliff, with the Sneaky Goblin just being better. Sadly, P.e.k.k.as are one of the few troops that are completely outdated, as they are too slow and just don't offer much to your attacks. Their only real use is in the siege barracks, but that isn't counted in this ranking, so they're overall not worth using in most armies. Similar to regular giants, super giants have a big issue, as they offer great HP for the housing space, but will oftentimes be worthless outside of Town Hall 12 due to it taking up a super troop slot over other good super troops. And super miners, while decent on defense, are horrible on offense, as their ability just isn't any better than just using regular miners, which is often better with higher DPS and much more flexible housing space requirements. So here are the F tier troops I don't recommend using in your armies or CCs. Moving over to the D tier, these are troops that are situational but fairly decent to use in a few different attack strategies or CCs across town hall levels. Starting with the Barbarian, the face of Clash of Clans and a troop that does alright in scouting out Teslas, which is very important when using the Fireball, but otherwise doesn't offer any main uses outside of Barch Farm. Archers, on the other hand, are fairly decent troops when it comes to cleanup and can also set up funneling if certain defenses are out of range, making them quite a solid troop to take, especially with them only costing one housing space. Likewise, wizards are great for cleaning up leftover trash buildings and are great for funneling so long as they're behind a tank, but are otherwise at best. With the golem, their simple use is just to tank and not much else, but with the addition of troops like the meteor golems and root riders tanking and ignoring walls, it made the golem's role a bit less valuable. As for the wall breakers, they are solid in the beginning, but from Town 11 and onwards, it's pretty lackluster since its super version is often much stronger in all situations. Baby dragons, however, are mostly decent for funneling if you at least scout air traps for them or keep them away from high DPS air targeting defenses like air defenses or the multi-archer towers, but can be quite mid over other funneling troops. The bowler is a fairly decent troop that can be used commonly in spam armies with witches at lower town halls, but can also be used in a bowler bounce for funneling or removing an air defense. With the Lava Hound, its main role is to tank for air troops, and while this is great for blimps and Lalo attacks, it's not a troop to always need with how situational they are, but can be decent options. Likewise, the Ice Hound is quite similar to the regular Lava Hound, but it just has a freeze on death, making it a bit stronger, but still situational in similar armies. And for the Sneaky Goblins, I know you guys are going to be lambasting me in the comments, but they are pretty situational outside of farming. They are decent troops at that, but often are specific for funneling resource buildings for cheap or sniping the town hall or CC if they're close to the outside, making them overall not bad, but not that insane either. So here are the D tier troops that can be decent options in your armies or CCs. As for the C tier, these are troops that are niche but fairly good troops overall, whether in your CC or in your army comp. Starting with the Druid. Thanks to their recent buffs to healing and lifetime duration, they are seeing more use in situations to keep heroes alive on the outside. While still not the same as their OP days, it's still a solid troop with a good amount of use cases despite being niche. Valks, on the other hand, mostly rely on good pathing to clear buildings, which is why they work so well with Root Riders, since they can break through walls, allowing Valkyries to have greater pathing through the base. They can also be quite good in the CC when funneling, but are otherwise okay troops. With the Minion, they are similar in use to Archers and Wizards, as they are great for cleanup. but what sets them apart is how cheap and how flexible they are in nearly every army, as you can just take a few to funnel, especially with their DPS being fairly quick despite their housing space. As for the Witch, it's a fairly good troop at lower town halls within spam and can be a decent option when funneling, but can be countered quite easily the higher you go due to splash damage defenses being more prevalent while also having a stronger super version. Similarly, the Hog Rider is fairly good at lower town halls as heal spells are strong at these lower levels, but does fall off slowly with more and more splash damage defenses being released in addition to a stronger super version. Now, Super Valkyries are actually not the worst if you consider how strong they are in the CC, especially with this Super Yeti, as this within the log launcher or siege barracks can be great with a rage spell that easily helps the Electromites or Super Yeti itself get more value. Otherwise, it's a bad troop if you're considering boosting it though. Super Dragons, on the other hand, are just not nearly as strong as they used to be, as other dragon troops have much better synergy in the game across town hall levels, whereas Super Dragons mostly work with themselves and need good bases to be used properly. And with the Super Wizard, it can be decent in Golem Witch spam armies, but are also mainly good in Blizzard Blimps with invisibility spells to clear large areas out of the base, which can be solid depending on how the base is designed, but is also stronger thanks to the Super Wizard's HP buff. So here are the C tier troops that can be fairly good across army comps or CCs. Next up is the B tier, where these troops are quite solid in plenty of armies or CCs across town levels, starting with the Miner. Unlike their super version, they are much cheaper at 6 housing space and do a bit more damage compared to the Super Miner, making them stronger in different armies like Mass Miner or Hybrid. As for the Electro Titan, they are still strong troops with a lot of HP and DPS, along with an aura to prevent skeleton traps, which makes them a very strong troop overall in smash attacks or as a support troop in some armies. Super Hog Riders, on the other hand, are very solid, especially in mass Super Hog armies, as they can both provide damage on defenses and clean up via the Super Hog and Super Rider respectively, while in theory having 2 lives, but can also be pretty good in the CC with a back-end Royal Champion. Likewise, Super Witches are also solid troops due to their higher HP and DPS from their recent balance change, but also with big boys not being affected by Springtrap, giving them more reasons to be used more often. With the Inferno Dragons, they are mostly solid troops when paired with Dragon Riders and Totem Spells, as those things can tank for your Inferno Dragons while they burn up buildings and defensive heroes in the process. And for Super Archers, they are starting to see more use after their recent HP buff, allowing them to be used in Super Archer Blimps more effectively and can be quite good in smash attacks with the newly buffed life gem. So here are the B tier troops that can be solid options in the army comps or CCs. Moving up to the A tier, these are troops that are quite strong and have long-term viability across all town levels, starting with the Ice Golem. They are strong mini tanks to use in multiple armies, with their death freeze enabling troops and heroes to put in more damage before defenses are able to attack again. It overall is a flexible troop in many different armies and situations, ranging from hero dives to smash attacks. Headhunters are very strong troops still, with how easy it is to fit them into any army while dealing with defensive heroes easily, which is always worth taking to minimize the amount of damage taken from them, but can also be solid in cleanup since they jump over walls and attack quite quickly. As for the Apprentice Warden, they are still strong with how good some tanky units are, like Root Riders and Meteor Golem. While not nearly as flexible as other options, they are consistently a strong choice the more and more tanky units they add to the game. Yetis, on the other hand, are much more flexible troops with how much variety there is, from Yeti Witch spam at lower town halls to funneling heroes or troops into the base to a Yeti Blimp with or without clone spells to secure value. They overall have long-term viability with how strong they and their Yeti Mites are. Similar to Yetis, Furnaces are quite consistent as they offer value with the Fire Mite spawns, which is perfect with Warden walks and can especially work within Warden charges, with multiple being used to funnel and distract defenses while doing chip damage over time. Super minions are an exception, as they are quite mid within the actual army, but can be quite strong in the CC, especially after their recent buffs, giving them much more viability in plenty of armies that use siege machines like the Siege Barracks or Flame Flinger. And for the Super Yeti, they are quite similar to normal Yetis with the exception to funneling, as they are amazing in Smash-style armies, great within the CC with Super Valkyries, and can be used quite effectively in the Battle Blimp, especially with Clone Spell. So here are the A tier troops that are very much future-proof in the army comps or CCs. Finally, we have the S tier, where these troops are the best options you can use in your CC or army comp regardless of your town hall. Starting with the Dragon. Dragons are pretty universal troops and are very powerful no matter if you're a Town Hall 7 or Town Hall 18 player. They often can also work well in the CC at lower town halls to deal with defensive CC troops, but are mainly very strong power troops as you move through in things like mass dragon attacks. Now, with Root Riders, despite not getting a new level since their release, their ability to break walls easily has made them one of the most reliable troops in addition to its tanking, allowing it to have a lot more flexibility in different strategies. Super Bowlers, on the other hand, are quite strong currently, and with more ways to get around walls, they can be very deadly, especially with how strong their damage is, making them amazing for Smash-style attacks from Town Hall 14 and above. As for the Super Wall Breakers, they are very powerful, as once you unlock them, they are used in many of the best armies currently, and with it being able to guarantee wall breaking, it's solid to just have one or two of them. With the Dragon Rider, they have seen a lot more use since the Totem Spells addition, enabling them to be much stronger with the spell that can distract defensive damage away from them as they work between defenses. And with the help of Inferno Dragons, they can easily move between defenses and crush bases. For balloons, they are still just as important nowadays due to its ability to trigger traps effectively for only 5 housing space, and are necessary for healers to keep them alive. This enables them to also be used in siege machines like the Troop Launcher to get them in and clear air traps. Super Barbarians are very good when it comes to cleanup and funneling, especially with their cheap housing space and rage ability, allowing them to consistently work in many armies without having to worry about air traps. With the Rocket Balloons, they take quite a bit of skill, but can work extremely well in Fireball Rocket Loon armies or can be used to snipe defenses for air and ground troops. As for the Meteor Golem, despite their nerf to their HP and DPS, they are still very good with how tanky they are, making them great in smash hits and can be great tanks for other troops like throwers since they can ignore walls while dealing great damage in the process. Electro Dragons, on the other hand, are fantastic currently with their higher HP and DPS while pairing extremely well with Totem Spells, fixing a major weakness of theirs in terms of taking too much damage, and can be used against any base regardless of Town Hall level. With healers, they have remained a top troop for a long time, and with how good the Life Gem and Rage Gem are, they can become a lot more tankier than before and heal even more, allowing them to work with most troops in the game. And for throwers, they are considered the best troop, which works so well in Smash armies with their slightly faster movement speed, but with the Life Gem, their HP being a lot higher allows them to do even more damage with the Rage Gem's buff. This overall makes them incredibly strong and tough to stop, especially thanks to its range. So here are the S tier troops that are very powerful and worth using in the army comp or CC. At a glance, here is where each troop ranks from worst to best, including super troops. This should help in visualizing which troops are at the top of their game and which troops could use a boost. If you're interested in seeing the minimum levels for your hero equipment, I recommend checking out this video right here, but YouTube says you might prefer this one instead.